This is going to sting a little bit, but it's something that you honestly need to hear. Nearly every woman has faked an orgasm at some point. And if that's true, then statistically speaking, you've probably been on the receiving end of a performance without even knowing it. But here's what separates you from other men out there. You are here right now, seeking the truth, wanting to become better. Because most guys would rather live in blissful ignorance than face the reality that their girl might not be experiencing the pleasure they think she is. But you're different. You want real connection, real satisfaction, real intimacy, and yes, real orgasms. Today, we are diving into a topic that is going to change your sex life because when you're having real orgasms and your partner's having real orgasms, you're having a different kind of sex. We're going to be looking at how to recognize when a girl is faking it, and most importantly, how to create an environment where she never feels the need to fake it again. You guys, welcome back to The Naked Connection. This is the show that supports driven men to reach sexual mastery and build deep connections. I'm Kirsten, and before we go any further, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a single episode. We are about to get real about female orgasms. You guys, let's get some. First, let's get clear on something very important. Before we dive into the signs, I need you to understand this. If she is faking it, it is rarely about your performance. And I know that's hard to believe, especially if your ego feels bruised when you recognize, I think she just faked that. But hear me out here, because when a woman fakes an orgasm, it's for complex reasons. The reality is that many women struggle to reach orgasm during penetrative sex. Actually, studies show that up to 70% of women do not orgasm from penetration alone. So that's a lot. Some women get too caught up in their heads. Others are carrying stress from the day or emotional blocks that interfere with their ability to fully and completely let go. Understanding this isn't really about making excuses for her. That's not what I'm here to do. But it's really about approaching the situation with more wisdom instead of wounded pride. So we are going to get into the 5 signs that she might be faking it and then what you can do about it. The number 4 sign is that body and sound are mismatched. This is where you need to become a student of her body. A real orgasm isn't just vocal. It's a full body experience that creates physiological changes that you can actually observe and perhaps even feel when you're inside of her. So start to watch for some of these authentic signs of orgasm. The first is deepened breath immediately after climax as her body returns to baseline. You might notice skin flushing on her chest, on her face, on her neck. That post-orgasm glow is actually a real thing. She'll also have hypersensitivity to touch, especially around her clitoris and her vagina. And then finally, there will very likely be involuntary muscle contractions. So this is what an orgasm actually is. Involuntary muscle contractions in a localized part of the body that can expand to the rest of the body, and it is a pleasurable release of built-up tension. So here's the question. Can you feel or see these contractions? You see, not every orgasm will have dramatic convulsions, but there should be some kind of involuntary response. These could be small twitches, internal contractions that you can actually feel, or a more full body response moving throughout her body. So if she's making all of the right sounds, but her body is remaining completely relaxed and still, that's, again, something to start investigating and notice. Number 3 is over-the-top performances. Some women are naturally more expressive during sex. However, there is a difference between that authentic expression and a performance that sounds like it came straight from porn. Real orgasmic sounds can again vary dramatically because they're expressions of actual physical and energetic release. Sometimes they're more like moans, sometimes grunts, sometimes it's squeaky, sometimes it's silent. I once had a client who told me that it sounded like his partner's orgasms was her in pain. And he would actually stop having sex to check in on her because he was worried. And come to find out, that was just the way that her body naturally made noise when she was in an orgasmic state. The point here is that authentic expression is going to change. It's not a rehearsed soundtrack. So perhaps ask yourself, does her response sound natural and varied, or does it sound like she's playing the same audio track on you every single time? It's like she's hit that play button, that stop button, that play button, that stop button on repeat. Check in with that. Number 2 is she going from 0 to 60 syndrome? This is huge. And it's something that every real orgasm has in common, whether it's coming from you or her. And that, my friend, is buildup. Orgasms don't just happen out of nowhere, especially for women. There's always some kind of escalation, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental intensity, or all of the above, that builds towards that peak moment. So when she's getting close, she typically needs consistency in rhythm and technique to get over that edge. And this is why one of the biggest mistakes that men make is changing what they're doing right when she's about to come. So pay attention to this gradual or quick progression. There will be a gradual buildup throughout the entire sexual experience. If she seems to go from 0 arousal to sudden orgasm without any buildup, that's a sign that it might not be authentic. And number 1, the silent partner syndrome. Okay, you guys, here is the single biggest tell that a woman is faking an orgasm. The silent partner syndrome. She never initiates, she never gives feedback, and she never asks for what she wants. So listen carefully. If she never guides you, never moves your hand to where she wants them, never tells you to go faster, slower, harder, softer, that's not because you're naturally amazing. I don't want to burst your bubble, but here we are. That's actually because she's likely not invested or knowledgeable about her own pleasure. A woman who's genuinely building towards orgasm will often move towards what feels good for her. So she might even shift her hips, pulling you closer. She could give verbal or physical guidance, saying things like, right there, don't stop, or I'm actually moving your hand. She could also take some control of the rhythm or the pressure that works for her. The body is really, really powerful at asking for what it wants. So even if she's not verbally saying it, her physical cues are going to be indicating it or moving there for her. So if you are consistently and always the one leading without receiving really any input from her, and she seems to orgasm perfectly every single time without any guidance, it's time to take a closer look. And this is actually going to feed in right now into a little bit about what you can actually do about it. So we're going to talk about how to take fake orgasms and turn them into real ones. Step number 1 here into making this shift is to really create safety. So if you are resonating with some of these signs, or maybe you're just curious about how to ensure that real orgasms are always happening during sex, we're going to get into some steps that you can start taking. Let's be honest. You want to be that man. The man that she can't stop replaying in her mind. The man who makes her breath catch, who leaves her dripping with anticipation, who has her begging for more before you're even touching her. Here's the thing. Great lovers, they aren't born. They are built through skill, through presence, and through deep confidence that radiates in and out of the bedroom. That is exactly what my Legendary Lover training gives you. This isn't a list of bedroom hacks. It is a rewiring of who you are as a man, how you carry yourself, how you own your sexual desires, how you step into sex with complete freedom and clarity. In the Legendary Lover training, you will learn practices that expand your confidence, sharpen your focus, and ground you so deeply that she feels it in every touch, in every look, and in every breath. Because when you master yourself, she feels it. And that is what makes you unforgettable in bed. I have led countless men through this training and through these practices, and they have walked out completely changed, more confident, more commanding, and more sexually magnetic. And right now, because I'm launching this for the first time, you are going to get in at a discount that I will never run again. So head on over to thenakedconnection.com/lover, LOVER, before this discount disappears. Don't just be good in bed, be legendary. I want to go back and preface that, of course, if a woman is faking an orgasm in sex, her pleasure is her responsibility. And I would really, really hope that she would feel inspired and desiring to take some initiative for herself and for your relationship. And while that is not the intention of this video, I do just want to call that out, that sex is a two-way street, pleasure is a two-way street, and everyone is responsible for their own orgasm. So little note for her there. But for you amazing men that are like, I want to help, I want to be a part of this, I want to make some changes, this is for you. The first step is to really create safety, not confrontation. So I would invite the opportunity for you to not call her out directly. So this can create defensiveness, it can create shame, and even shut down any possibility of having actual honest communication about sex and orgasms. So instead of asking her, did you just fake that? You could approach it like this. You could say something like, I really value seeing you in pleasure, and I want you to feel really good. I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need and desire. Is there anything that we could try differently to make things even better for you? Let her know that you understand that women often feel pressure to orgasm every time, and that you would hate for her to feel like she couldn't be completely honest with you. And when you do this, it actually removes that fear that she is likely carrying around hurting your ego. So a lot of men, there's just kind of like a cycle that I start to see, is that men, you love to give pleasure and you love to witness a woman in pleasure. And we love that. And that puts pressure on her to make sure that she is able to give that to you in return of like, I know how much he loves giving me pleasure, how much he loves seeing me in pleasure. I need to make sure that I come. And that creates some anxiety. So by acknowledging that and actually having a conversation about how can we invite in more pleasure, what do you want more of? Like, what could we switch up? That's going to help to soften some of that fear. The second step is to really build an environment where faking it isn't necessary, right? So women often fake orgasms when the real thing doesn't feel possible or accessible. Oftentimes a woman will notice, oh, I'm just not going to get there today. Like, you can just feel it. And if any women are listening, like, you know what I'm talking about. You can just tell this is not going to happen. So how can we shift that up, right? So men, you can take this on as your opportunity to really create conditions where authentic pleasure can totally and completely thrive. And oftentimes, yes, this starts outside of the bedroom. So emotional safety and connection during the day is directly going to impact her ability to let go sexually. So if she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you in general, she very likely can't feel sexually vulnerable with you either. I think if we could do a study, I think there would be a direct correlation between emotional safety and orgasm for women. Like, they are like one and the same. So while that starts outside of the bedroom, there are things that you can do in the bedroom. So in the bedroom, resisting judgment about what she needs to get there, positions, fantasies, toys, whatever it is. If you have that first step conversation and she's like, look, I've never been able to come from penetration alone. Would you be open to, while we're having sex, I used a vibrator? Like, I know that that would do it for me. And I think it would feel so good to have you inside of me while I use that. And practicing being open to that if that's something that feels available for you. So resisting that urge to judge what she actually needs to feel pleasure. And we have so many episodes about how to have communication about desires and toys and all of the things, so be sure to check those out. The second is patience with her process instead of rushing towards the goal. So often, men, you have this really powerful ability to reach orgasm quickly, which can be really, really amazing, right? And then women, we take some time sometimes, and even physically, physiologically, it has been shown that it can take a woman up to 45 minutes to be physically completely aroused and actually have what I like to call the lady boner, right? When the clitoris and the walls and the crevices of a woman's sexual center are completely engorged and enlarged and flowing with blood and fluid. That takes time, practicing that patience. And then finally, expressing enthusiasm for her pleasure, not just your own performance. And I have a feeling that you very likely already do this, but I think it's a great reminder. When we encourage someone in their pleasure, it often invites in more pleasure. All right, the third step here is to remove that performance pressure. So counterintuitively, sometimes letting go of the expectation to orgasm actually helps her get there. Orgasms are like trying to catch a butterfly, okay? The harder you chase that butterfly, the more elusive it seems to become. Oh, isn't that the truth? So make it clear that for you, great sex isn't just about reaching the finish line, that it's about the entire experience of connection and pleasure. And when she stops feeling that pressure of her own to perform, she can actually relax through enough to experience pleasure. This is one of the things that I love about Tantra is that it has like an orientation that isn't goal-oriented. It's more, how can we be in the pleasure that exists in this moment, independent and irregardless of what was and what is to come. So an important note here is that this doesn't mean accepting a sexless relationship or ignoring the orgasm gap or just being like, you know what, we're done. I'm not going to worry about you coming anymore. It really means creating space for her and your pleasure to develop naturally rather than forcing it. I know we use analogies about flowers all of the time for a woman's vagina, which I think gets played out, but I think that there is a lot of truth to it in the sense of a flower doesn't bloom until it's ready. Like if you peel open a flower before it's ready to be opened, it's not going to look very good. I really think that that is also true when it comes to a woman's pleasure. So the next step here is to really become a student of her body. Experiment with everything. Slow down, speed up, use your hands, use your mouth, combine techniques. The goal is exploration and discovery, not just to orgasm as quickly as possible. So start to pay attention to her real responses, those subtle changes in breath, the way her body moves towards you or away from you during certain touches, that genuine sound that she makes when something actually feels good. Remember, most women need clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm. So don't be afraid, like I mentioned above, to incorporate toys or to try different positions or manual stimulation during penetration. The bottom line, if your partner is faking orgasm, it is not an attack on you, on your masculinity, on your performance, on your ability to be an amazing sex god, right? It's information. It's telling you something needs to change in your approach, in your communication, or the environment that you're creating together. The men who become legendary lovers are not the ones with the biggest dicks. or the most techniques under their belt, they're the ones who create safety, who pay attention to those authentic responses and prioritize connection over performance. When you master this, when you become the man who can give her those real, authentic, mind-blowing orgasms, your life, her life, your sex life, your connection, everything gets to up level drastically, right? Your confidence, your connection, and yes, even the way that she looks at you and craves you and desires you changes. And that's the kind of man that every woman dreams of being with. That's the kind of lover who never has to wonder if what he's seeing and experiencing is real. Remember, great lovers are made, they are not born. And I know because you have made it to the end of this episode that that is who you are. If you are committed to continuing to become that man, you are already ahead of 90% of guys out there, so congratulations. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, this is Kirsten, and let's get some.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Naked Connection. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Trust me on this, your sex life and that special someone in your life will thank you for it. And if you really love the show, please take a moment and leave a 5-star review or a written review and let me know what you think. It would mean so much to me and this show. Until next time, happy connecting.